Hi guys, Mons here. So for today's episode, we're going to go through a couple of playoff games so far. So it's going to be a three-part episode. The first one we're going to go through is the Lakers and Minnesota Timberwolves game 2. The second one we're going to go through is the Rockets and Warriors game 2. And the third one we're going to go through is the Clippers and the Nuggets game 3. So the first one, like I said, is going to be Lakers and Minnesota Timberwolves game 2. I felt this was a very important game for the Lakers because after losing game 1, with the way they lost game 1, the way they got blown off the court, game 1 by the Timberwolves, it was very embarrassing in front of the home crowd in Los Angeles. So in my previous review of game 1, I said Lakers have to come out with a bit more intensity, energy, and defensive intensity as well coming out for game 2, and that's exactly what it did. I was very impressed with the way Lakers were focused. They felt like they couldn't drop this game at home, which is a very good mindset to have. Because if they've dropped this game at home, it would have been 2-0 down going to Minnesota for the next two games, which would have been a very, very bad look for the Lakers. So Lakers came out. You can tell everybody was locked in. This started defensively from LeBron. Like I said, he's the leader of the team. But this is Luka's. He's the leader of the team. But this is Luka's team. The defensive intensity all started from LeBron. When the teams came out, you could tell the Lakers were all locked in defensively, and I think this is key going forward for Lakers, especially if they have any aspirations of winning the championship, of winning it all. Because if you're like, defense wins championship for me. Obviously, you have LeBron, LUKA, and Reeves. They're gonna get theirs either ways. Like offensive, they're gonna be fine. Two of them every night is gonna give you high 20 points, in my opinion. Or one might go for 40, the other two might go for high teens. I think defensively, that's where the improvement has to keep coming from going forward in the playoffs for the Lakers. So, like I was saying, I was very impressed with the Lakers defensively coming out. LeBron set a tone defensively. It was everywhere especially in the first quarter. When I was watching it, I couldn't believe how locked in it was defensively, especially for an old guy like that. I felt eventually the energy levels are going to drop. It's only human that for that to happen. So LUKA offensively was just amazing. That's the look I want to see going forward for the Lakers. I'm a Lakers fan. I want Lakers to do well, but especially LUKA. I'm a big Luka Doncic fan as well. After seeing what he did last year in the playoffs, when he got traded to the Lakers at first, I was a little bit disappointed because I love Anthony Davis. However, what you're getting with LUKA is you're getting a once-in-a-lifetime generational offensive player. If Luka is great like that offensively, I just don't mean scoring points. Because game 1 he had 37 points. But the biggest thing for Luka is getting others involved. In game 1 he had 37 points and just one assist. In this game, he had 31 points, 12 rebounds, and he had the most important stats of the night was in 9 assists he had. It was just phenomenal offensively. I was in awe watching what Luka was doing, especially in the first quarter and the second quarter. Offensively, he had Rudy Gobert in literally the torture chamber. He was just amazing. I love watching Luka when he's going off like that. And LeBron also had 21 points, 11 rebounds, and 7 assists. Reeves had 16 points, 5 rebounds, and 5 assists. I think the key things for the big three for the Lakers is the assist column. The assist has to be, Reeves has to give you between 5 to 8 assists per night. LUKA has to be giving you between 8, 9, 10 and double digit assists. LeBron has to give you between 7 to 10 assists a night if you're looking to be successful with this Lakers team, while also being key defensively. I know it's a lot to ask for, but that's what you expect from players like that. Great players like that. That's what you expect, especially from Luka and LeBron. Great players like that. You expect them to be locked in defensively come playoff time, and offensively that comes as a second nature team for the Lakers, in my opinion, especially with LeBron and Luka. Timberwolves were thrown off by the intensity of the Lakers, the way the Lakers came out and how good defensive they were. There's a couple of role players I felt for the Timberwolves that had a terrible game in this game 2. You can tell from Naz Reid. Naz Reid had 9 points this game, and in the first game, game 1, Naz Reid had 23 points. 23 points from game 1, and he only had 9 points this game. Jaden McDaniels had 25 points in game 1, and he only had, I think, McDaniels only had 8 points in this game. So you can tell the points differential there. Obviously, that means if your role players aren't playing that good, you're not going to be able to win. It's important for, obviously, Anthony Edwards, Julius Randle to play well. However, the role players for Timberwolves and also for the Lakers are the one that are going to determine this, especially for the Timberwolves, I feel, because Anthony Edwards only let's say A plus or A offensive player they have. So if Anthony Edwards, he can get his, I'm happy with giving Anthony Edwards 30 to 40 points a night, as long as the role players aren't going up for 20 points each or high teen points. That's my main worry. That's my main issue, like I pointed out in the review of the series. And this game, I felt the Lakers did a fantastic job in the zone defense. Like, Anthony Edwards got his in the paint, no problem. Let Anthony Edwards get what he wanted to get in the paint. Even Julius Randle, I think he got 20. I think Julius Randle got 21 points in this game, something like that. He got 21 points in this game. He played really well in the paint as well. But what I felt Lakers did well was guard the 3-point line, or when Anthony Edwards was trying to drive and penetrate and pass it out to the role players on the 3-point line. Lakers did well defensively to cover them. The Minnesota Timberwolves came out with low energy. I felt the effort wasn't as great as it was in Game 1. I believe they treated Game 1 as a must-win game, and they were pretty much content with splitting the series 1-1, going back to Minnesota, which I think that's pretty much the thinking of most road teams in the playoff, especially in the NBA, is you try your best to split the series. Make sure you don't lose 2 games in a row, especially if the first 2 games are away, which Minnesota Timberwolves accomplished. I would imagine they're very happy with that. If I was a Minnesota Timberwolves fan, I'll be very happy splitting the series 1-1, going back to Minnesota for the game 3. However, I felt the effort level was way below what was required on the night, comparing it to the first game, where they came out and pretty much all the role players were hitting shots in the first game, and in game 2 they weren't hitting as much shots as they were. Well, you can attribute that to Lakers defense being much better, Lakers intensity being much better as well. So I think that goes hand in hand, in my opinion. What I would say is the role players are going to be very important, especially for Minnesota, because I feel they have one A plus player in terms of offensive ability, which is Anthony Edwards. Julius Randle is between a B to a C player offensively on his night. So the role players such as Naz Reid, Jaden McDaniels, they all have to be hitting shots. Like, Naz Reid and Jaden McDaniels have to give you between 15 points to 20 points if they want to have a chance of winning this. And same goes with the Lakers. We're a little bit less in terms of role players of offensive abilities, because I feel Gabe Vincent came out and he hit his first 2 3-point shots, which was amazing. As soon as those 2 shots went in, I was extremely happy. As a Lakers fan, I felt the game was there for the taking, and I felt like we were going to eventually win the game, because Gabe Vincent came off the bench hitting 2 3-point shots. Dorian Finney-Smith also good defensive pressure. Him and Gabe Vincent good ball pressure defensively and hitting their shots, which made his job easier when the key offensive players had to go out of the game or had to take a little break offensively. What I would also say I noticed in this game was JJ Redick, the Lakers coach, let Austin Reeves handle the ball a lot more, let him bring the ball up a lot more, which took some burden off LUKA, because the first game LUKA was dribbling the ball up a lot more and just going for it every single time, which I believe that's not LUKA's best ability. LUKA's best ability is get everyone else involved as well, and then getting his points. And also, Reeves brought the ball up, and they will call a play for maybe LUKA or LeBron. For LUKA, it was always an ISO with Rudy Gobert. He had Rudy Gobert in a torture chamber. It was amazing to watch. I love watching that matchup. As a LUKA fan, I love watching that matchup. It was amazing to watch. And they'll call a play for LeBron. LeBron didn't go to the rim as much this game, which is very smart, because the Timberwolves are a very, very physical team, and they're very good at protecting the paint, which Gobert is obviously the main culprit for that, protecting the paint. He's very good protecting the paint. I know people give out about Gobert defensively. I know it's a big guy, can't move his feet. However, protecting the paint, he's amazing. He didn't win 4 defensive players for no reason. The Gobert is amazing defensively, whether people like to admit it or not. I felt Lakers were cooking offensively, especially in the first 2 quarters. LUKA was absolutely cooking. Whoever was on him, whether it was Jaden McDaniels, whether it was Rudy Gobert, whether it was Julius Randle, whoever was on LUKA, it was absolutely cooking him. Every single time he had possession in the first 2 quarters, LUKA was absolutely cooking whoever was on him. It was either getting to the rim, whether it was shooting his 3 points, whether it was passing it off, initiating the offense for other people to get theirs. It was amazing. I love watching LUKA in that mode. It was brilliant to watch. I love when LUKA's like that. He's basically unstoppable offensively. Anyone that's watching Lakers this year know whenever they go out on a big lead, especially at halftime, they always let the other team back in it, and they always make it a dogfight to finish up the game, which doesn't bode well if you have championship aspirations. For example, in this game, they had 18-point lead going into halftime. They came out in the third quarter, and from the third for the third and fourth quarter were probably one of the worst basketball stretches I've ever seen offensively from a team. Both Lakers and Minnesota. Minnesota were a little bit better, but third and fourth quarter are probably 2 of the worst quarters I've seen basketball-wise offensively from 2 teams in the playoff. It was very stagnant. The ball wasn't moving as much as it was in the first half. I was very disappointed with the second half of the game. Basically, the Lakers let the Minnesota Timberwolves back in the game after an 18-point lead at halftime, and the biggest play of the game came around 4 to 5 minutes to go when Lakers were only up by 8 or 9 points at this stage. Minnesota Timberwolves were on a fast break. They had a bit of momentum, and LeBron got back on defense and stripped Anthony Edwards of the ball, which was fantastic to watch. It was like rolling back the years watching LeBron. As a LeBron fan, I was very happy to see that, and I was very happy to see how motivated he still is at this late stage of his career. It was just astonishing to watch. So the grades I'm going to give the players in this game is going to be as follows. I'm going to go through the Lakers players first. So, for example, I'm going to give LUKA an A-. I felt offensively it had it going, especially in the first 2 quarters. LUKA was phenomenal. It was amazing. I love watching LUKA when he's in that mode. For LeBron, I give LeBron a B+. I felt LeBron was brilliant. He had a brilliant all-around game. He might have only got 21 points, but I felt he rebounded the crap out of the ball, and he also made some very important play on the ball as well and off the ball. Reeves, I give Reeves a C+. I feel Reeves can be a little bit better. He can insert his dominance a little bit more, especially late in games. I know he got 16.5 rebounds and 5 assists last game. However, I feel he can do a little bit better. As the series goes along, I feel Reeves will get better. For the bench players for Lakers, I give Dorian Finney-Smith a C. I give Gabe Vincent a B-. And I also want to touch on a quick point there on Jackson Hayes, the Lakers starting center. I feel in this series, he's basically unplayable. He's always in foul trouble. He loses his players. I feel in this series, that's why JD hasn't played him much. I feel in this series, Jackson Hayes is basically unplayable in this series. The grades I'm going to give, the Minnesota Timberwolves players will be as follows. I feel Anthony Edwards had a mediocre game. I give him a B-. I feel Julius Randle had a very, very good game offensively. I give Julius Randle a B+. I feel Naz Reid, Jaden McDaniels, Rudy Gobert, they had a poor game. I'll give them a D. Pause. No D. So my prediction for Game 3 and Game 4 is Lakers are going to win 1 game and Minnesota are going to win 1 game. So the series is going to be tied at 2-2, coming back to Los Angeles, coming back to Lakers home ground for Game 5. My prediction at the start was Lakers in 6. I think this game might actually go in 7 games because I feel like maybe I underestimated the Timberwolves or maybe I overestimated the Lakers and how good Lakers can be. I feel like this game might actually go 7 games now. I think it's going to be a very good series. It's been a good series so far. I think both teams match up well. They cancel each other a lot. But as a Lakers fan, I feel it's a bad matchup for the Lakers because Timberwolves do well, defend well against what the Lakers do well. So it's going to be a very close series. I think this series might actually go 7 games. If you like my content, don't forget to click on the subscribe button. If you also want to give your opinion on anything you don't agree with me or you agree with me, please don't be afraid to drop a comment. I'm always going to engage with people, especially about basketball, debating basketball. Thank you. If you're enjoying my content, make sure you click on the subscribe button. And if you have an opinion on anything, please drop a comment. And I'm always open to a conversation or a debate about basketball. Thank you.